G'day everyone, Anthony 4x4 Diesel. Look at this piece of crap. There's a reason why they're called Mitsubishi. You know, I don't want to swear. I want to be nice to everybody. But sometimes when that's what it's called, that's what it's called. Okay, now I'm just going to talk a little bit about what brands of cars to buy and what brands to steer clear of. And I'm pretty sure when you're driving around on the road, if you take a bit of notice, you should be able to tell which ones are the ones to steer clear of. Look at this, it's just constantly blowing smoke. This is one of those ones that you report to the EPA in Australia, in Victoria. It's a Mitsubishi, looks like a Challenger, registration number XUA595 if anybody wants to take care of that. Currently, what's the date, Mitch? Do you know the date?
Something of September, like 13th.
Yeah, we need to know, you know, for a report. It's 8 AM on the 16th of September, and this is Plumpton Road. Plumpton? Call it Plumpton, or what else would you call it? Something like that. Call it Diggers Rest. We're heading towards Diggers Rest. So look, if anybody wants to report that, because this is why people hate diesels, and why one of the big reasons why diesels will be outlawed. And look, a lot of people shouldn't have diesels. Probably this car in front of us shouldn't be a diesel. A lot of people should have petrol. So we're going to cover a lot of things. This is not planned. This is just, I saw this POC. That's a piece of crud or whatever. And it just gave me the idea to say, look, you know, avoid these brands, use these brands. But a lot of people should be driving like that Camry that went the other way. Really cheap to run, cheap on maintenance. Just, you know, oil and filter, air filter, brake fluid every couple of years, coolant, stuff like that. You're going to have a leak and water pump every now and then. You'll get one from Repco for $50. No, just get the genuine one, you know, 100, 200, 300, whatever it is, right? It's going to be once every 150,000 Ks or something like that. Oh, gosh, look at that. It's just terrible, right? Mitsubishi, right? Okay, so it's got problems. It shouldn't even be on the road. It's absolutely terrible. So if there's not enough evidence in this video, you can just send this video to the EPA and say, you know, in case there's not enough information, there it is. We've given the rego number, we've given the time. This vehicle, you know, not to pick on the owner or anything, just for the benefit of everyone, you know, everybody's health. We've got it on recirculate, by the way. That's cancer, heart attack, and stroke pumping out right there. And anytime you see a vehicle constantly blowing smoke like that, you should report it. Now, I've got to say, Toyotas are more of the diesels on the road than anything else, and generally they're the ones that are running okay. When you see a bad one, you know it's just one of those people that's got no idea, totally old flogged injectors. But what seems to happen with, let's pick a few brands, help me out here, Mitch, things like Mitsubishis, Audis, BMW, Mercedes, Nissans, they can be a lot younger, and they just, Mazdas even, and they can be blowing a lot of smoke, right? So it just seems the other brands. So we do pick the good brands. As I've said this a number of times before, we're helping you out with the best because we haven't got time for the worst, right? If you want the worst, then why would you? You're just barking up the wrong tree. So I think we nailed part of the video by what we just said right there, some brands to avoid. So how about we go through best brands, Mitch? And I reckon you've got a pretty good idea. So I'll do one, you do one, and we'll just have a little quick discussion as we go. I'm a taxpayer. The money you pay me, more than half of it goes back to the government, you know, between the GST and the tax. I paid for the road, so I'll use the whole road, in case you're wondering, when I go around a roundabout. If it's all clear around me, at least I'm going to save on tyres, because next time I have to buy tyres, they're going to get more money again, right? Because that's how it works. So, you know, I'm going to save on fuel, I'm going to save for the environment, I'm going to save on money, I'm going to save tyres, wear and tear on other suspension components. When I come to a roundabout, I'm going to use the whole road. When I go around corners, I'm going to use the whole road. So, good brands. Mitch, what's the best brand? What's the most reliable sort of brand? Value for money, what would you say is the best brand to buy? Toyota, I reckon you're right there. We'll talk about why in another video maybe. Okay, so if that's the case, that's good. What do you reckon would be, I know this is a harder one, but we're going to talk top 5, but what do you reckon might be one of the next reliable, value for money, made in Japan type brands? We do like, there's a tip, made in Japan. Some people go, oh, Mitsubishi, and I thought it'd be all right because it's made in Japan. Well, you've just seen it, right? Look, overall, we're going to get back to the Mitsubishis later in the video. Overall, they're probably not too much of a bad package at all when you compare what's around, and they might come up in what we're about to speak about. So, Micho, what do you reckon? If you couldn't get a Toyota, Subaru's a good
and
one.
Honda.
Yep, Subaru and Honda are a good one. Although Honda do make the best engines, and they make very good quality cars. But you've got to be careful what country, and like everywhere around the world, all these staff shortages and that. Over the recent years, even before the C word, I believe they sort of might have dropped the ball a little bit, but I haven't personally experienced that. I did have some new Hondas, and the only problems I had was batteries, because they didn't, they left it sitting around in the showroom going flat type thing, and didn't. And you can't leave a battery flat. But with the cars themselves, I've never had a bad experience, and everybody I know has always had a good experience. But there is some other people that have had some bad experiences, or people know people, but I'm not sure about that really, and I think it's minor. So I think Honda's still. Personally, I think it's a really good brand. Just have a look where the cars are made. A lot of them are made in Thailand and stuff like that, I believe. So if you can get your Japan options, then I think that's always a good option. We're just actually heading out the Calder Freeway. We're heading out towards the start of the Simpson Desert on the west side. It's going to take us a few days to get up to there. We're going to enjoy the ride up the Unadana track, having a look at a few things, and across the desert, and then back down on the east side through Dibbarburra and Broken Hill. So there you go. What else, Mitch? Honda, what do you say? Honda, Subaru's a good brand. I think Toyota owns half, or they own Subaru, just like Suzuki and stuff like that. I don't know if you knew that, but Toyota have got a good share or ownership of other brands as well. We'll get to Suzuki. So Subaru's always been a good brand, especially in recent times over the last couple of decades, since the WRX, Impreza WRX, which really got their name from, and that worked really well for them, I think. And they do have quality cars, but like all the other brands, they did have problems with diesels and DPFs, right? Because this DPF idea, it was all for good reason, but the sort of driving people do around Melbourne, for example, this stop-start driving, it doesn't work for a good DPF burn. It doesn't clear the DPF. It doesn't furnace up and get the job done. Do you know what I mean? That's the biggest issue, the way they've been used, and I think that's why Toyota put it off for as long as they could. And it wasn't until they were forced to do it that they did. But anyway, not talking too much about DPF. So definitely two very good brands, Mitch. I'll totally agree there. Now, what would be your fourth? What if you couldn't get any of those three? What would be your next choice, maybe? Mazda's another good one. Yeah, Mazda's good quality cars. Nana's got a Mazda, hasn't she? Yeah, Mum got a Mazda a few years ago. Everybody I know, again, avoid the diesels with all these cars, people. We're talking petrol engines. Diesels are for four-wheel drives. They're for trucks hauling loads, heavy towing, regular heavy towing. They're for four-wheel drives back in the day on full drive tracks, but now with all the traction aids, you don't even need it. A hybrid would be ideal. I've said it before, but people that don't understand cars and listen to the videos and get my old school, maybe Irish, we've got a bit of a mix in there, common sense. If you don't get it, you don't get it. You've really got to listen, get to know me and what we're talking about, and understand things the way I do, to be able to get your head around what vehicles you should and shouldn't buy. There's a Ranger over in the right lane, mate. All sorts of problems with Rangers. I know there's a lot on the road. There's a whole lot in the workshop waiting for parts. There is people that know people. There's a lot of Ford technicians that can tell you about the mess. We haven't not even got time to go there and start talking about. There's so many problems. So good luck with your Ranger. You got sucked into the marketing. A lot of people got them. There's lots out there on the roads, and there's lots on tow trucks and going back to the dealer, and there's a lot of regrets. Okay, so I do wish all the best to everybody that's got a Ranger. Sorry about that, and all the brands. Always wish everyone all the best. I'm just trying to give advice on real world factors of what actually, what's really going to be happening out there. So Mazda. We're back to Mazda, weren't we? That's what we're meant to be talking about. Mazda's a good brand. Avoid the diesels. I don't think you're going to have any problems with Mazda. It's very good, yeah. And I think, look, for the most part, they're still made in Japan. So your brands that we've spoken about with the cars that are made in Japan are the ones you want. You want value for money. If you can, wait for a hybrid or get a hybrid option. Toyota have been really good at the hybrids. I'm not saying there's never a failure with something, but there's a lot of them out there, and I don't hear about any hybrid issues. So I'm not saying there isn't any. Someone that's worked in a Toyota dealership for the last 30 years is going to go, oh yeah, I've replaced heaps of batteries. Heaps is bugger all in the big scheme of things. Do you get it? Or, they are just the most real. When Toyota do something, they do it right, okay? You get it. I know. I spoke to someone's got a lot of people got the T word Tesla. We don't want to say it in this video. The T word. Spoke to someone else that's got one. Is it a Model S or something? Adam's one. Is that an S? You know about cars. Is that what they call an S? Well, someone else I know, I think, got a model. I think he said it was a Model S. Because what else is there, Mitch? What's the other T models?
I don't know the other models.
Okay, so that's the main one. So he's got that. Drives down the street and whatever, the radio doesn't work. Anyway, technology problems, right? So they might have this awesome idea and this awesome car, and it's really fast and it's electric and all that. And that's great.
This is actually a fact. Batteries that go in Teslas make more pollution than a petrol car in its whole life.
There you go, exactly. So look, that could be a separate video. Are they lithium batteries, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What sort? Do you know what sort of batteries in? Like Mum's got the Corolla Hybrid, beautiful, 4 litres, 100 k's, really efficient to buy, service, maintain, and to run. Do you know what sort of battery that is?
I know.
You don't know? Well, I believe, unless I'm wrong, I believe they're nickel metal hydride. Okay, so different type of batteries. So they're not the ones that burst into flames. They've been tried and tested for years, and that's what Toyota do. When Toyota do something, they're going to do it right. You don't pick on them for their DPF problems because everybody's got that. Nissan, Mazda, Subaru, they're all having it 10 years before Toyota. You didn't hear anything about it, did you? Right? It's always pick on the, when you got the good popular one that everyone's jealous of, kick them when they're down. You know what? Just stop doing that. Stop kicking people when they're down. How about you get in there and say, leave them alone. You know what I mean? Whether it's people or car brands or brands of other stuff or whatever, just back off, right? If you haven't got something good to say or help out, then don't bother saying it. Here I am bagging. I haven't bagged anything yet. We're talking about what are good brands mainly, aren't we, right? We're trying to give you info to save you money. This video, it wasn't designed to do anything, but it's turned into advice to save you money. So Mazdas, that's where we're up to, weren't we? So Mazdas are good, alright. So if all those brands are taken, Mitch, what's your next one?
Like some of the European cars.
Oh no, you're dreaming, aren't you? Psst, incorrect. We need to talk. Okay, let's have a think about it before we get to those graphics. And everybody knows what I'm talking about. We'll get there. Let's talk, is there any other good brands? What are the other Japan? What about Nissan? I mean, Nissan's, depending careful what you buy, but Nissans are pretty good cars overall. Even though at the start we said they blow smoke and whatever, they're probably the next one of the next ones, or amongst that, some Japan-made cars or Japan company, even though they're made in other countries and stuff. The Nissans are probably the next after the ones we spoke of that I'd go for, the sort of brands that I'd pick out, if you know what I mean. So, what else? Is there anything else made in Japan? Any other good brands? That pretty much covers the brands of cars you need to look at. Anything else is a no-go zone, including those cars made in the C-word, CCP, right? So, but it's up to you, right? Anywhere but there, like anything else you buy, anywhere but there is my recommendation. But you can do whatever you want, right? We just don't support bossy people and the way they roll, if you know what I mean. I think it was called a dictatorship. Anyway, even though you might be that one day if you're not careful and you don't keep listening to the right people and keep your mind open and listening to the right things and avoiding the wrong things. You've got to keep your mind open and consider these things. So if you couldn't get any of those brands, as much as I don't like the cars, they do catch people's attention by doing things like having more USB ports, having more technology. They have it before the other cars. They have longer warranties. It really gets attention, right? Yes, Kias, Hyundais, stuff like that, right? So they're the other two brands that I'm not a big fan. I'm not saying to go buy one, but you do get very good value for money and get a really fast car, that Kia Stinger, right? Do you know how much they're worth, Mitch? Do you know how much they are? About 60, 70 grand, something like that. I mean, that's pretty good bang for your buck, I think, for about 60 grand. I mean, I had a Type R, Honda Civic Type R a few years ago, and I looked at all these different cars, and I went for the Honda again, never had any problems. Very fast, fun car. Had it on a couple of, racetrack stuff like that, went through the tyres in 5,000 Ks, and all that sort of thing. All the guys with the mods, the air intakes, the tyres, all the chips and tunes and all that, still blew them away on the racetrack, because again, if you can drive, you've got the advantage, okay? Stock tyres, mate, blowing them away. Anyway, that's another story, that's a separate video. Point is, from memory, the Stinger wasn't, and I don't mean you need a fast car, because you're just going to get impounded, it's just going to be on a tow truck, you're wasting your time. All you young people, forget about it. There's too many cars on the road, there's cameras everywhere. You're going to have no license. You're going to be sad. Been there, done that. I know all about it. I've been around. So take my advice. So everybody, get the kids on the channel, anyone that's still around, get them to listen to these videos, because I'm just going to give everyone the right advice, just like yourselves. I've got some experiences too, been there, done that, right? So don't worry about your fast cars until you're over 35, because that's when you've got half a brain and you can maybe think enough to slow down and not do silly things. Bada bing, you get it? You know what I'm talking about? So Hyundais and Kias, I think, you know, they've got better over the years. They're not going to be as good. The quality is not going to be as good as a Toyota. To be quite honest, the quality is, I can't use the S word in the video, but that's where it's at, to be honest. I don't know that many people that have brought them, because people that know me, if they buy anything but a Toyota, they're feeling ashamed, and that's fair enough. I think they should, to be honest, because I've given you the advice that they are the best. They're the best value for money. So why would you go anywhere else? Poor man pays twice. Anyway, I know someone that recently picked up a Stinger, alright? And I don't know how many problems it's got, but one of the problems is you drive over the gutter and it goes kunk, kunk, kunk. And as it turns out, like, he takes it into the dealer, and the dealer says, oh yeah, you know, that'll be a faulty strut, you know, we haven't got one, we have to order that in. So worked out what it was pretty quickly, and didn't have the parts, so he's driving around with a kunk, kunk, kunk. You know, didn't, you know, how did that go on the PD, you know, the pre-delivery check? Yeah, not very good, because they're meant to drive the cars, check these things, and it shouldn't get out the door, right? Wouldn't get out the door of my dealership. So who wants to invest in a Toyota dealership? Let's get in there together. Anyone with quite a few $1 million, let's team up together, get a group together, and let's get a Toyota dealership, and let's just do it all right, okay? So anybody interested, let me know in the comments. You need a lot of money, and you need to be smart. If you got a lot of money, you're either smart or lucky, or you're just doing the right thing, and you are blessed, like some of us are. The more you do the right thing, the more it'll come back to you. I'm guaranteed. I've got experience of that. Tried and tested. I didn't do it because that's what I wanted to do, but the more I realised that was happening, I suppose the more I tested it and did it, and the more it worked. So it's the secret. There you go. There's the secret. Anyway, okay, after Kias and Hyundais, they're your kind of cheap option. Get some more technology. You got a long one. You can't go, as long as you're not travelling around Australia, okay? Because you got a long warranty, you can't go wrong. Something goes wrong, drop it off at the dealer. They might give you a loan car. You might ride your bike, get yourself an e-bike or something, get some exercise, save the environment as well. But it's no good if you're travelling around Australia and you have problems, right? Which is why you go for the Toyota, like that KUN 26R Hilux over there in the left lane. Final speed camera here just past Gisborne. There's a few speed cameras. I think they're doing a lot of different cameras. I believe they're probably all in testing at the moment, but I'm not going to risk it for the biscuit. Basically, yeah, long video, but lots of good information. Long chit chat video. We might get a few more of these, so subscribe, turn the bell on if you're enjoying it, so you don't miss the next one. Because like I said, we're headed out on a trip for a week or two. So yeah, we'll get some videos happening out here. What's that possible speed camera up there on the left? When you drive and you see a parked car, there's an app called Waze, W-A-Z-E, Waze. You might want to use that for general safety. Has he got are they the coincide mully panels? They do them for the Hilux, or is that another brand or something? There it is. That'll be the 4-speed. Hear it? Because it's going back to 4, unlock door converter. Oh, that's a Ranger broken down, right? That's what we're talking about, right? He's probably got a flat tyre or something. Did he have a flat tyre? The back was sitting there. Did you notice? Or I didn't notice?
Yeah, the back left was sitting there.
Maybe overloaded, and the epoxy engine or transmission couldn't handle the load. Anyway, trust me, Rangers are bad news. Anyway, you've got a warranty. Just don't go far with it. Stick within 100 k's from home, 200 max. Make sure you got your RAC, whatever state you're in, total care, and even though it wrecks your holiday, and you know what that's like because you've seen it from other people who are experienced it yourself, not a good thing. You want reliability. So even though I sometimes pick on the Toyotas a bit, you know, like some of the decisions they're making, whatever, they're still the best options, whether it be an older one or a newer one. And generally, if you're watching this on our channel, you can work out all the maintenance that needs to be done to keep it really reliable. Okay, we need to move past the Hyundais and the Kias. What else is it? You said European cars. Mate, bad idea. Never touch any European car. Any good mechanic, other than one that's trying to get your money, will agree and tell you, mate, all your BMWs, your Mercedes, your Audi, I'm not going to go on. Just cover it simple. European cars generally very nice. They can make a good, nice car that's unreliable, that has problems, that people can't fix, that's hard to fix, that nobody wants to work on, that the parts are expensive, that they're not in stock. Do you get the picture, right? You can get them really cheap at the auctions because rich people buy them, or people that like to get big loans to show everybody how, oh, look at my flash car. But because they do that, they've got the money, or they like to borrow the money because they're rich and famous, they just get a new car quite regularly. They get a new one every 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, 3 years max, and they just trade it in, goes to the auctions. And of course, most people at the auctions are either smart enough they don't want that, or they're just buying it to sell it. So you can pick it up for 30 grand, drive it around for a month or two while you sell it. You can look flash like everybody else, but nobody really cares what you've got anyway. So there's another lesson: waste of time doing or buying or anything to impress other people. Nobody cares about what you've got, okay? Nobody cares, okay? And they shouldn't really care about too much about what they've got, as long as they're happy. And what is happiness? Anyway, that's another video, isn't it? Look at these 20 minutes. Doesn't this guy waffle on? Some of those people that complain about waffling would be loving this right now. And hopefully people are listening to this on the way to work and back, and that's the sort of thing you do. Play it while you're driving, you hook it up to your Bluetooth, get it going through your speakers, put it up loud so everybody at the lights can hear it like doof, doof, doof. Except this is Anthony 4x4 Diesel, get on it, you know? Tell everyone about it. Anyway, I'm trying to be funny here, but you know, it doesn't always work out. So basically what we want to do is avoid those cars. What else is there, Mitch? What other? We didn't talk about the Suzuki. Suzuki's are pretty good cars. They might not be, they're not as good as Toyotas, but just because they're owned by, these brands are owned by, just like, you know, Ford and Mazda, I don't know what the deal is now, it changed a few times over the years, that sort of thing. Look, I'm not sure where that's at, but Suzuki's are good cars, mate. If you want a good little four-wheel drive, you know, cheap, you know, I think they're alright, but they're not going to be as good as that. I think Suzuki overall, it's a good brand. They do good outboards, they do pretty good motorbikes. Again, Yamaha's your Toyota of the bikes, just like Kubota's your Toyota of the tractors, blah, blah, blah. That's the way I think. Think Japan made, think quality, you'll be on the right track. What else do we need to add? You know, I hope you've seen some other makes and models. Nothing blowing smoke like that Mitsubishi was. That's why we thought we'd start a video with that. Bada bing, we're off on a trip. Bada boom, catch you on the next video. Thanks for listening. We're out of here. See ya.